The billionaire said to me, Dan, if your goal is to make $1 billion, chances are you'll never make $1 billion. I've had the opportunity to sit down with a local Vancouver billionaire. He is in the real estate business, also is in the financing business. So when I sit down with him as a young guy, I ask him the question, how does one become a billionaire like you? What advice would you have for a young man who is like me, that I'm building my companies, and if you were to do it all over again, what would you do it differently? And I always remember he said to me, you know what, Dan, at first, that's not my goal. I never set out to be a billionaire and put that on my goal list or anything like that. Now, when I was young, because I had a family, got my wife, I've got a few kids, all I wanted to do was to provide a nice environment for them. I wanted to be able to provide a good education for my kids. And I wanted to be able to have a nice environment for them to grow up in. That was it. And so it's just like when I was your age, my focus was to become rich, to be a millionaire. And he said to me that when I hit $1 million, when I become a millionaire, I realized nothing changes that much. It's kind of the same. I still go to work, I eat the same breakfast, and I've gotten now the nice house, a couple cars, and life is good. But I realized that doesn't fulfill me, that doesn't fill me up, that doesn't get me excited anymore. And I realized that is not the end goal. So at the time, I also had a group of employees that is under my leadership that's working for my company. I treat them like family members. I get to know their spouse. I get to know their kids. And what happens is, before you know it, now we are a pretty big company. We have 100 employees. And I thought, you know what, to expand the business, I need to acquire another company. So before you know it, instead of one company, then I have 2 companies. So then I was asking him, so how do you manage and all these different companies? You got like so many different companies, and you acquire different companies. How do you do that? And he said, well, just like having a baby, it's just one at a time. It's one at a time. You acquire a company, and then you let it grow, you nurture it, you grow it, and then you have another company, and you nurture it, and you grow it. And he said, after then decades of doing that, now end up with tens of thousands of employees in this group of company. So then I asked him the question, so what advice would you have for me? And he said, well, if your goal is to make $1 million, chances are you'll never make $1 million, because that's not what is going to get you to $1 million. It's just by focusing on the money. However, if you love what you do, and you love your customers, you love your people, you love your team, and you are willing to make a difference, and you are willing to establish a reputation of being fair in business dealing, right? Of being able to work with people, and people want to come back to you and do business with you. He also said that, when you try to build your business, when you chase other people, when you want to do business with them, when you want to close that deal, it's much easier when they come to you versus you go to them. And the reason they will come to you is because you have a good reputation.